It's like, oh, does that really sound that bad? Because, it takes a while, when an actor will first read the script, you're like, oh, okay, okay. And it gets better. You're an actor, you know what it's like.
Oh, yeah.
You get better the more you read it, but as a writer, I don't want to hear that. I will be there for the first rehearsal. Obviously, if there's any questions, why you wrote this line, what you meant, why'd you write the play, all that's great. Then after that, I tell the directors, and they're always very happy to hear this, I'm not going to participate anymore. If you need me, I'm here. If an actor says, well, I don't know about this or that, then let me know, but you're the boss. And I think that's really important.
Absolutely. It's a big collaboration. This industry is not just a one-man show. You have to work with people.
Yes. And that's what makes it beautiful.
Absolutely. And it's different people. It's what makes the world go around. Not one person.
Yes.
Every person is different,
Yes. Yes. The splendor of it all, right?
Uh-huh.
What God did when he created everything.
Definitely. Amen.
Yes, amen to that.
Absolutely. Because I'm a writer. I've written some short stories and some plays for local theater. And, it's interesting. And it's interesting to me because I'm also an actor as well. And you can bring that expertise to writing and vice versa. You can bring your writing expertise to acting. So I tell people, in the entertainment industry, try to do it all because it all works in all the little different fields. If theater acting, that works in radio. If radio works in voiceover, writing works in theater,
Yep. Yes. I don't know how you actors do it, honestly. I don't know how you go out in front of a live audience, having memorized lines, then deliver them and act them. I couldn't do that. I'm like, oh, God, no. Let me just hide behind my words.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's tough. It's not an industry for everybody. It's certainly a case, in my case, it's an industry that came to me. I just happened to fall into it, and I love it, though. Absolutely.
Yes. You need thick skin.
Definitely. And that kind of goes back to what we were talking about, what was the difficult part of being a writer, because that also comes in with you have to have a thick skin for rejection. When you finish your book and publish your book, there's some publishers that will, not take it, unless you're self-published. But
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Yeah. It's not going to be for everyone. Even when they publish it, the book isn't going to be for everyone.
Yeah.
There's people have very, people have very specific interests. I know the book publishing industry is doing well. I also know that we're a society increasingly with short attention spans. Mm-hmm. And, it's got things, tweets have to be answered right away. Messages, on and on. Social media. It's so sometimes you just need that leisurely effort of just reading, and especially if you're a writer. I don't understand writers who don't read. I don't even know how that's possible. You can't. It's right. It activates your muscle. And I'm not saying you have to necessarily read the sort of genres you write. I like science fiction, but I read a lot of history. And I'm reading a wonderful biography of John Kennedy now, which is set from when he was from his birth in 1917 through 1956, which is really fascinating. So I love history because I think, unfortunately, we are becoming afraid of history. And we're forgetting that we need to learn from history. And there's huge lessons to be learned. And it's not going to be pretty history, not at all. Some horrible, horrible things the human race has done to each other and will continue to do to each other. But you've got to know where it came from. So that will be a guidance to us.
Absolutely. People forget history, History will be around for eternity, It's going to be...
Yes.
And history shapes us. We learn from the past, and, and we try to learn from our mistakes, and sadly that is not always the case these days. So, people still make good mistakes.
And you're putting it as you do it quite correctly. You're personalizing. It's like people. We learn from our mistakes. We're not perfect. We do things that, oh my God, what have I done? Like a society. And that isn't to excuse it, not in the least, but you have to understand it. And you also have to set it within the context of times, why things happen when they did. Again, what happens now is that when you want to explain history, we've become so polarized that as soon as you explain it, you're accused of embracing or agreeing with that point of view. But it's like, no, I'm just trying to understand. And that's scary, because then we lose the ability to understand and to learn. And we don't want that.
Yeah. Yeah, the world is difficult as it is. There's no need to make it any more harder, life,
That's right, that's for sure.
Yeah, my last question to you is, what is your advice to people who want to get into writing, who want to be a writer?
Well, it's really simple, right? I know that sounds like, right? Because I'm sure you've had the same experience. People say, I want to write. Okay, I've got a great idea. Okay, good for you. It's wonderful. Write it. Don't tell me about it. Write it. But then once you write, remember that it's hard work. Mm. It's, it seems so easy, right? Oh, well, you just sit down at your laptop and you hit the keys. Well, no. And plus, you also have to be prepared to edit. And I'm very manic about that. My last novel, A Fastball for Freedom, I did about 9 drafts. And in fact, the original manuscript was 656 pages. And I have a Word document, extra deleted scenes, about 200 pages. So you have to be willing to kill your young.
Yeah.
Right? You know what it's like when you have to edit. You say, oh, maybe that isn't as brilliant as I thought it was.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Editing, it's... I'm not really good with technology, but I have to do it because it's part of my job, and...
Yes.
Yeah, but editing, I find, I like editing now because it's interesting, because I listen back to the interview, like, did I really say that? Or, or I should have said this.
Yeah. Yep, there's always going to be that. There's always, I should have, could have, would have, but you just got to go forward.
Yeah.
You can't, there's a great line, you can't let perfect be the enemy of good. And I think we have to remember that. Sometimes we can do as well as we can.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's no such thing as perfect, but, if you can get it near perfect, you're good,
Yes, absolutely.
Well, Gary, thank you very much for letting me interview you. I'm sorry for the delay in time and for the call dropping, but thank you very much. I had a blast talking to you, and I'll send you a link to the interview when it's uploaded.
Yes, and please do me a favor. If you could send me your address, I'll send you some bookmarks.
Okay.
Mount Overhill bookmarks. And I'd love to send you my play if you send me your email.
Okay, yeah, definitely. I'll do that once I finish up here. Okay.
Yes, do that. All right. Trey, it was lovely talking to you. Thank you so much for having me on your show.
Thank you. It's a pleasure. You have a great day.
You too. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And that was writer and screenplay writer, Mr. Gary Morgenstein. Thank you very much for listening. Sorry for the call dropping and a few delays. We're having some technical difficulties here this evening, but we'll get it straightened out for the next interview. And this interview went really well, though. It shows life. It happens. Things happen. Well, thank you very much for listening, and as always, God bless.